At this year's linux.conf.au at the University of New South Wales in Sydney, Linux creator Linus Torvalds spoke about the advancement of his operating system and its place in today's computing environment. Linus, what is it like to be back here at LCA, now in its 7th year?
Well, this is one of two conferences I go to every year. There's a kernel conference up in Canada during their summer, and then there's this one during your summer, and this one is my favorite by far. I don't know why, but for some reason the Australian kernel conference tends to be, maybe a bit disorganized, but it's a lot more fun than most technical conferences are.
With so much Linux development done over the internet, is it always good to meet with people face to face and discuss things?
It's the face-to-face is mostly social. I don't think a lot of work gets done, but you kind of you get the social ties and you meet the people that you work with all the time, and getting some face time is kind of nice. So a lot of the talks are interesting, but even more interesting is all the things going on in between the talks when you meet people you haven't seen since last year.
You must be impressed with the growing popularity of this event.
Well, I don't think in those terms. So I'm not like happy it's grown, because that's not, to me, what I really care about. I'm still interested in the technical side, and to a large degree just the development process. It's a lot of fun just working with people around the world, and the fact that these conferences grow and the user base grows, it's kind of secondary.
What about the growth in commercial support for Linux over the past few years?
I don't actually personally see a lot of that, because I try to keep myself distanced not just from the vendors, but also commercial users. It's one of the things I'm really happy about, that there are commercial vendors who take care of users. It's not the thing I do. I hate having to work with users directly. So this way I can concentrate on the technology, and the vendors do the support that I would be horrible at.
Linux is quite mature now, so what's in store for 2007?
Well, it's mature in the sense that I've been doing this for over 15 years, but at the same time we've always had new issues. So I've been saying for the last 10 years or something that next year there's not going to be anything new to do, that all the excitement happens in the user space, and it's been true to some degree that a lot of the stuff that people do are projects like OpenOffice and Firefox and things that I don't have anything to do with, and the kernel doesn't even care about. But at the same time, we've always had new issues. Hardware keeps changing. People's ways of using their computer keeps changing. So it's not really mature in that sense, because a part of it has matured, but there's always new things that grow up on top of it.
What about Linux on the desktop? Do you see that as a new frontier for the operating system?
It's one of the areas that is the hardest one by far, because it actually depends so much on both the hardware that keeps changing very much, and the users just change what they do. So that's Linux on the desktop thing. A lot of the things we've done over the last years has been supporting gracefully, for example, something as simple as plugging in a camera into the computer, and you want the user experience to be that it not only notices that the camera is there, but it brings up all the applications automatically, and all these different things have to talk to each other, really. And so that's one of the things that I think we've done a lot of work on, and now it's largely out of the kernel's hands, and the vendors end up supporting the desktop experience a lot more. I think the desktop issue has been and will continue to be, a lot of the problems is just the inherent inertia of users who are used to whatever they are using, whether it be Macs or Windows, and overcoming that inertia. It's not about this year, right? We'll make more strides towards it, but I'm not going to say it's going to be this year.
It's an interesting time, as Windows Vista is coming out this year, and users have the option of either upgrading to that or switching to another operating system such as Linux or Mac OS X.
It's true that at the same time, I don't actually think that something like Vista will change how people work that much. I think it's to some degree being overhyped as being something completely new, and I don't actually think it is. I think there's a new, the interfaces may look different, but it doesn't really change fundamentals in many ways. One of the things we'll probably notice is the hardware requirements for Vista are obviously much higher than for previous OSs, and that could end up helping Linux just because people notice that you can run Linux on machines and have it work very well, even if the same machine couldn't run Vista at all.
Is the desktop an area that can define a new user experience?
Well, I actually think in many ways the exciting places are often in the specialized embedded world. Here at the conference they were showing off the OLPC, and what happened last year, for example, was a lot of cell phones are starting to use Linux. The desktop market in many ways is fairly well defined. People know what they want to do with a desktop. You want to have your word processing, you want to have some eye candy, you want to have the 3D graphical stuff. And we know that, and Linux handles that very well. And in many ways, that's just the thing of we need to continue to support it and slowly get more and more people used to Linux. And that's going to take some time. In many ways, the exciting revolutionary things tends to happen elsewhere than in the desktop.
Linux.conf.au 2007 has fulfilled its reputation as one of the foremost Linux and open source conferences in the world. This trend is set to continue in 2008. This has been Rodney Gedder reporting for IDG Australia.